Welcome back to College Football Addiction. I want to talk a little bit about the Big 12 here in the postseason bowl season. We've got Drake C. Toll from Locked On Big 12 in our video today, presented by BetUS. More on them later. But Drake, the Big 12 is having a pretty good bowl season and not maybe done yet.
Yeah, the Big 12 is having an awesome bowl year, TJ. They still have an opportunity to go to the College Football Playoff National Championship or win the whole thing. Do I think Arizona State can carry the boat that far? It's not impossible. Certainly not impossible. But if we just break down what's happened in bowl season, there's only been one monumental loss for the Big 12, one embarrassing loss for the Big 12, that being Texas Tech against Arkansas, a game where the Razorbacks, honestly, based on how many opt-outs they had, transfer portal additions, or subtractions, I should say, they had, Texas Tech should have won that game. On paper, they certainly did, but the Hogs blew them out. Outside of that, Kansas State, the ability to come back against Rutgers. Iowa State, down by 10, second half, comes back against Miami. BYU, proving they could have made noise in the college football playoff. TCU, they could have easily had an embarrassing loss to ULL, wins 34-3. I think Baylor is going to put LSU in a very tough spot on New Year's Eve as well, given the fact the Bears are by and large playing and LSU is not. And like I said, Arizona State an opportunity to make even more noise. I am monumentally impressed with how the Big 12 has handled bowl season to this point, even when adversity is hit. And that's what's so interesting about this, TJ, is you get down by 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns in a bowl game. What's the point, really? I mean, yeah, you win a bowl, but 10 years ago it mattered more when there was only a national championship game from the BCS. Today it's like, oh, okay, well, you won or lost a bowl game. And that hasn't been the mentality from Big 12 teams. This conference is almost single-handedly carrying the entire idea that bowl games matter. And with that, I'm so pumped by what the different schools here, even West Virginia, who is down a head coach and down a whole lot of production, scoring 37 points, getting within 5 against Memphis in a game that could have been a blowout. The lack of give up, the amount of grit and fight the Big 12 has displayed has been huge. And even this Colorado loss, while like this is the perfect storm for an ESPN who doesn't want to see the Big 12 succeed too much, they got a loss out of a Big 12 team because the Big 12 played itself in a bowl game. But even there, BYU shone so bright that the Big 12 ended up winning overall in the end. And so I'm happy with how bowl season has panned out so far.
As somebody who actually likes college football, right, doesn't just work for the 4-letter network and cares about money, right? It has been so great to see the Big 12 in bowl season because of what you just mentioned. Nobody cares about bowl season. A lot of people still care about bowl season, right? Fans are still tuning in. Fans are still watching this. Fans still want to see their teams go out and compete. And yeah, is that tough at some places? You think about West Virginia, down a head coach, down players in the portal. Yeah, it is really tough for some places, but that hasn't changed. And the Big 12 very much feels blue collar, very much feels like, hey, we're not the wine and cheese crowd of this conference. We're not the SEC powerhouse of this conference. We're not the basketball conference of yesterday like the ACC is. We're just going to go out and compete and we're going to work hard. And this is the result. And so, yeah, it almost takes on the mentality of the entire conference of, yeah, we'll show you. And I'm so excited to see Baylor. I know for several reasons you are too, but I cannot wait to see Baylor. I've got all the tweets in the drafts ready to go for when Baylor takes on an SEC team this week, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Give me the Bears in that one, no doubt, because the opt-outs for LSU, and that's a big piece of this, is you'll have SEC schools or ACC schools, too, that are, and it depends on your brand. In the ACC, I think NC State wants to fight for a bowl win. Miami, they're probably going to care a little bit less because they wanted that college football playoff nod. Across the board, though, the Big 12 schools, they don't care about the other teams across the nation going, oh, well, our players didn't play, or, oh, we opted out. There are certain cases, Florida State last season, where you go, okay, I get it, that you guys got completely screwed, and this is a protest. But then this year, there are a lot of SEC schools, LSU included, where it's not a protest. Their players are just opting out because they don't want to play for whatever reason that might be, or they're entering the transfer portal. So for the Big 12 to have so many teams commit to actually playing bowl games, it's not a little brother mentality. It's a college football mentality that is lost on everybody else. This conference, at the very least, has shown this bowl season that football games still matter to us. And that's something that's going away for a lot of major programs across this sport. I'm glad that the Big 12, the Big 12 namely, can show the world what it looks like when a Heisman Trophy winner plays, when a team full of blue chip sophomores like Iowa State has, when those kids play, when an Avery Johnson, a future Heisman Trophy candidate like Avery Johnson, when that guy plays, This makes bowl season so much better, so much better. Or Josh Hoover breaks a record at TCU because he played. Now we've set the tone. This is college football, and it still matters, even if it's in December.
I'll get right back to the video, but first, want to give some love to BetUS. You can use our code YouTube150 for a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit. You get 125% on your next 2 deposits. All of that up to $2,000, whether you're betting on the college football playoff, bowl season, the NFL, NBA, NHL, whatever you want to bet on, they will get you taken care of. Again, YouTube150 gets you that bonus. I appreciate BetUS. Could you imagine if Kansas would have gotten into a bowl game? Could you imagine if they would have faced off against one of these SEC teams that, it is nice the SEC has the built-in excuse. If we win, it shows that we're the best. If we lose, we didn't care about it. But could you imagine if Kansas State would have been playing, I don't know, South Carolina or Ole Miss or one of these complaining teams that thinks they should have been in? Kansas would have beaten anybody. The way they were playing down the stretch, nobody would have wanted to see them in a bowl. I know that this isn't necessarily where the video was supposed to go, but they would have been a lot of fun to see in bowl season because, like you just mentioned, the games actually matter.
And the only one who could slay the giant slayer, the Baylor Bears, beating Kansas handedly in Waco, that just goes to show, I think, that the Baylor squad is so hot, they'll be able to put LSU in a very tough spot when they play here on New Year's Eve. So, yeah, you're right. You're getting me to want and wish here. But, yeah, seeing Kansas play at Ole Miss, my money's on the Jayhawks there. And Ole Miss fans will balk at that because they don't actually watch college football. But that's how well Kansas was playing at the end of this season and the kind of athletes they have when you take Jalen Daniels into account and the way that he was down the stretch here. So, yeah, TJ, I'm right there with you. I wish the Big 12 would have gotten one more opportunity with that Kansas team and instead of West Virginia. And I know West Virginia fans will push back on that, but without a head coach and in a game like that, they were going to struggle in that bowl game no matter what. I would have loved to have seen what Kansas could have done.
So all of this considered, there was so much talk. We've talked about it on several videos now about who should have been in. This team was looked over, or this Bama team was snubbed, this, that, and the other. There was another 10-2 team that beat a playoff team, that lost to a playoff team very close, that was left out. Nobody wanted to talk about BYU when everybody else was complaining, but BYU came out and beat the snot out of Colorado this weekend, and maybe looks like a team that, again, because they weren't in the Big 12, not considered, we don't respect the Big 12 at all. We don't care about that conference. But maybe looks like a team that should have been in over SMU, a team they beat head-to-head, a Tennessee, a team that got boat raced at Ohio State. I don't know. BYU has to be the biggest snub of the entire thing.
I think so. It's tough because they did win 10 games in the regular season and they beat SMU. They should have gotten in over an SMU or over a Clemson. That's a head-to-head matchup. they did the one thing you can do, and that's win head-to-head. BYU did that against SMU. Tough. It's tough to see them beat Colorado the way they did and now really start to wonder, oh my gosh, what could have been if BYU had gotten into the college football playoff? And I hate to play the game of, would they have been better than Tennessee or would they have been better than Clemson? Maybe not. No matter what, they should have gotten more respect. Had they been the number 9 team, had it been a vacuum and everybody starts without an AP poll ranking. If there's no ranking week 1 and week 5, we release the first one and BYU, who's undefeated at that point, gets to be number 11. At that point, they're in. No doubt they're in. If we played this game and everybody just had a box with a question mark on it and you gave their resume, the Cougars are a college football playoff team. But because of the Big 12 logo or because of the bias against the Big 12 and the bias toward the SEC, that didn't come to fruition. And again, it's a great season for BYU, but I'll wonder what would have happened if they got in.
Yeah, the idea of, everybody's the same. It's just not the case. There is so much bias built into preseason rankings. And I know that the college football playoff committee they don't consider, they absolutely do. They consider ranked wins. They just look at the AP poll, right, from the weeks prior when they weren't meeting, week 10 and beyond. So anyway, Drake, where can people follow you? Where can they find more of your work?
Yeah, at LO Big 12 or at Drake C. Toll on Twitter and wherever you find your podcast with Locked On Big 12.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Always.
Thank you so much for watching. If you appreciated, enjoyed, loved, or hated our video today, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss any of our content. Again, appreciate BetUS for their support. We will talk to you soon on College Football Addiction.